The estimate is 3 hours and 15 minutes, but it's going to be a lot of fun, trust me. I'll go ahead and get started here. And 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, here we go. This is Super Mario Galaxy 2 Any %. So, I guess we have a 2.5 minute intro sequence here, so I'll kind of explain how Any % in this game works. Essentially, in order to beat the game as fast as possible, you have to collect 70 stars to unlock Bowser's Galaxy Generator, which from there you can also get a star, and so the total ends up being 71. So that makes this kind of a long run, but again, this is going to be a pretty entertaining run. So we're moving with long jumps. Long jumps are the fastest form of movement without like any special upgrades to it or anything. So this is Numa, who's going to give us the ability to spin. Spinning allows you to pretty much do anything in this game. You get more height from your jumps and whatnot. Alright. So coming up is kind of the first trick of the run. So let's see if I get it. Alright, I got it. So what I just did there is something called slope boosting, where if you have a high amount of speed falling onto a slope, and then you jump on the first few frames, you can get a nice little boost. And it saves a well done time. I'll be going for 3 of those in this run, that one included. So, pretty standard Mario story, you know. I'll take this time to explain one mechanic you're going to be seeing me do a lot throughout this run, and it's called landing cancels. Every time I land from a launch star, or almost every time usually, I'll be going into first person mode as soon as I land, and then canceling it immediately with the A button. And this skips a landing animation that normally takes around 1 second, and it saves a lot of time over the course of the run. So just thought I'd point that out real quick. Now we're going to have some more text boxes. This is just a bunch of A mashing, really. In this next area, there's a small text box skip that I can do, but I'm not really going to go for it. So let's see what happens. So on this next set of text boxes, if you go slowly on the first 2 and then get the third one frame perfect, I didn't get it. But you can skip that 4th text box and save like half a second. This game does require motion controls, so that's going to be fun to mess with. And now we go from having a little amount of action to a pretty high amount of action with the very first star of the run, and right off the bat we've got some cool tricks up our sleeve. So you can scroll through text quickly simply by holding A like this. And first skip of the run. There you go. You don't have to go to that bottom side of that planet. And if I stand still here, then the cutscene will actually end like half a second earlier. That's really cool. There's the first landing animation cancel. So as you can see here, we've got a high amount of power with our jumps and spins here. So I just did something called Luma Bounce, where if you do a home and ground pound off that Luma, you can skip its launch star, and it saves like a second. And it is pretty difficult, but it is the first star of the run, so...
What happens if you fail?
It's worth showing off, in my opinion. Okay, so, yeah, backwards momentum in this game gives you more momentum than forwards momentum. So stuff like that can be abused. Okay. So this is Pee-wee Piranha. You're supposed to spin his shell twice in order to break it, but we're just going to ground pound it once, and that shatters the entire thing. Alright. On that first phase, he runs away really quickly, so typically you want to stun him with a couple star bits to get him to slow down. That's Pee-wee Piranha. That is the first star out of 71. Alright. And in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see an individual IL time after each star. That's actually a really cool thing to use if you want to do ILs with this game, or if you want to like practice and optimize your stars. So we just got a bunch of text boxes here. This game, I think, is a little better about cutscenes than Galaxy 1 is. And this purple Luma is Lava. We'll be seeing him a lot. He's kind of the Rosalina of this game. And here he's going to give us two options, that's right and yes. They both mean the same thing, so you can select either of them. Alright. Doing text boxes optimally like that is actually pretty difficult. It's a bit more complicated than you might think. This is Starship Mario. This is kind of the hub world of the game, if you must. We're not going to be doing that much exploring of it, however, because the fastest way to get around is obviously just go straight to the home and then go to this Super Mario Bros. 3S world map. And we just got a bit of a cutscene here. Just for the record, this game has a lot of downtime in between stars. Usually in speedrunning marathons and charity marathons like this, in between stars is a good time for donations. So I'll let you know when there's usually good times, if there are any, of course.
Alright, thank you.
Alright. So I didn't explain this for the first star, but there's something I'm going to be using every time I'm in the star select menu. So whenever there's a clear star, I'm just going to point the Wii remote away from the screen and mash A, and that automatically selects that star. That only works on clear stars. For stars where I need to select the yellow stars, I am going to have to point at the screen and actually select it. Or just use my analog stick, but that's really dumb. Anyway, Sky Station 2. Pretty self-explanatory level for the most part. That Chomp cycle is actually kind of hard for me to make, so I'm pretty happy with that. This isn't going to be nearly as flashy as Sky Station 1 was, but there's still going to be some pretty cool movement. On this second planet, I don't really want anything to go wrong here because I need to be on specific platform cycles to get the fastest movement through here. I'm going to try to do a one-up skip here. Right. It doesn't really matter that I skip that one-up because a text box will appear for the first one-up I collect, and I'm almost guaranteed to collect the one-up at some point in the run. There's two places where I'm pretty much guaranteed to collect one, right, like within the first hour. Turn all these flip switches yellow to get the second set of them through here. Now we're going to see our first cosmic clones. These guys will kind of copy your movement and make backtracking really hard. Gonna have some more basic movement here. Something else I'll go ahead and explain while we're at it is a second way to cancel landing animations is actually to jump on the frame that you land, but that's only going to be used. I'm only going to go for that at the start of levels where you can't actually control first-person mode, because it's frame perfect in 60 frames per second, so it's usually not really going for over camera cancels, but there are some situations where I have to do it. There we go. So in a moment, Lubba's actually going to mention co-op mode, which is kind of an alternate thing you can use for this game if you want. Basically, co-op mode allows you to... The second player can grab enemies, hold coins, press buttons and levers early. It's kind of neat, but I don't have a second player, and I'm also not willing to use a second Wii remote, so I don't use 2P. It's a bit more advantageful in Galaxy 1 because there's like an extra jump you can do and whatnot. Alright. Time for Yoshi Star Galaxy. Yoshi is the most broken thing in this game. There is a glitch you can do with Yoshi called Infinite Fluttering that is going to be heavily abused throughout this run. I'm actually going to be attempting a relatively difficult skip here with using it. Alright. So you'll hear me mashing A. You might hear me mashing A at the start of every level, and that's to try to get the jump cancel. Kill this guy to hold this egg. And I ground pound whenever I want to fall a long distance because you fall really fast when ground pounding in this game. So here's Yoshi, and now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate infinite floating and then attempt to skip. This is actually one of the biggest reset points in SMG2, by the way. So let's see how this goes. Alright, I kind of dismounted a little earlier than I would have liked, but I guess I got it. So, how infinite fluttering works is basically, you're not supposed to be able to stay in the air after doing a normal flutter like that because there's a cooldown time before you're allowed to flutter again. But by crouching during your flutter, you cancel both the flutter and the cooldown. And so you can actually immediately begin fluttering again. And it's useful for gaining distance like that, and you can also use it for gaining height. And the most optimal angle to hold, as you saw, I got quite a bit of momentum, which can be done by going sideways and also slightly in the direction of Yoshi's back. But if you're in the air for longer than 10 seconds, Yoshi will automatically lose almost all of that speed. Which is why I actually dismounted off of Yoshi when I did that skip. Because when you dismount off of Yoshi, you carry all of your momentum. And if I had waited any longer on Yoshi, I would have lost all of the momentum, so I was able to extend it for a couple extra seconds. So, there we go.
Alright.
Now we're going to do the second star of Yoshi's Star. This star is pretty cool, because there's going to be a big skip I have used here, which will save a lot of time. There's a bunch of different planets you're supposed to go to, and you're supposed to throw spinies at these glass containers to unlock launch stars. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to get on Yoshi, and then infinite flutter straight to the boss. And it's going to look really cool. This is actually a pretty simple infinite flutter. The only thing really awkward about it is the camera change midway through, which can kind of mess with your angle. There, I got it. So that skips the entire level, and now we're straight at the boss fight. Okay. This is Giga like he too. We're supposed to throw spinies at him. I'm gonna be breaking open these glass containers with coins just to make sure they don't get in my way. Because if I collect coins or star bits, then I have text boxes after every level, and that wastes about a second each time. Also, this is just a random useless glitch you can do with Yoshi. If you uncrouch and spin on the same frame, you can just slide around like that. Okay. What I was trying to do there was get both of those spinies on the ground, and then eat the first one, throw it at Giga like Kiki, and then eat the second one, and keep it for this third phase. I usually just throw it at him right now, but now I just have to wait for a third one. It's not going to waste too much time. Didn't have to ditch Yoshi. Oh yeah, whenever I drop Yoshi in a pit, he doesn't actually die. He just kind of transforms into an egg once he reaches the death barrier, and then he'll respawn somewhere else, so you don't need to freak out about Yoshi dying or anything like that. I'm not going to donate for like every Yoshi I kill, because again, I don't actually kill Yoshi.
No need to call Peter.
Yeah, I backflip to the helm. That's just kind of the fastest way to get there if Mario's standing away from the helm. If Mario's facing away from the helm. If he's facing the helm, usually I'll just turn him around and then backflip. Although there are some instances where I'll spawn somewhere that isn't right in front of the helm. Alright, time for a spin to Galaxy. So this is the first of Mario's, like, actual power-ups. from the spin drill, which will allow you to dig through planets. We're not going to be using it for the entire star, though, because one thing the developers didn't realize when making this game is that Mario can jump. So, we can use Mario's jumps to just kind of skip having to use the spin drill on some of the planets. Like here, you just use a triple jump and bam, you're already at the helmet. So coming up, I'm going to use a mechanic that I used earlier in the run called a homing ground pound to kind of give me some momentum. A homing ground pound is basically where you do a spin followed immediately by a ground pound. And it will home it onto the nearest item, enemy, or NPC. And by doing it on the spin drill, I'm able to get some sick backward momentum. I'm going over here to collect the comet medal. You might be wondering why I'm collecting comet medals. I'll explain that in a bit, but yeah, you can jump backwards into the corner of this pillar and click through it, and then just save a few seconds of walking. Yeah, why I'm collecting comet medals is because a lot of them kind of seem out of the way to collect, but a lot of the comet stars are actually really fast. And we just kind of have a limit here that we have to wait for. We're going to skip another spin drill on this next planet. And then coming up is probably the most hilarious skip in the game. So on this next planet, Captain Toad wants to talk to us, but I don't really want to talk to him, so I'm going to go into first person mode and then shoot him in the face. And that skips the text box. Poor Toad. But no one likes Toad anyways, so we don't have to worry about it. Alright, so this is Dig-a-Leg. This is one of the few instances of RNG in this run. And it's relatively minor, but it can still make a pretty big difference. Right here, I want Dig-a-Leg to jump on me. Okay, he did it, but I can manipulate him into jumping on me. Like that. And that way he'll go all the way over to the other side of the battlefield like that. And immediately become vulnerable. It saves a little bit of time if you can get it. I also want to keep these yellow Diggas alive if possible, because he won't spawn anymore if I do. Alright, so there I got good RNG. But unfortunately he killed both the Diggas, so now I have to... He's gonna spawn 2 more. There we go. That was an alright spin dig. And rather than just walk to the star, we can just dig straight to it. Yeah, that's one of the longer stars in this category, but you're also required to get it in order to beat the game, because there's no way to skip it. So we just go ahead and get it while we can. There's actually 10 unskippable stars in this game. I think there's actually a lot more in Galaxy 1. Although I'm not sure. So on some of the stars, you'll spawn at the very bottom of the starship. You just kind of have to make your way back. There we go, right side down Galaxy. Right side down 1 is the level that I like to say Nintendo meant for you to break. Just because there's a lot of skips here, and a lot of the skips are fairly obvious. Nintendo is just kind of conveniently placed for you to use. So, starting off, we have this cool backflip. Allows us to fall all the way down to this flower. And now you're supposed to hit that gravity switch to reverse the direction of gravity, but there's a conveniently placed item block right there that allows us to just skip it entirely. Then a slug boost there. Why take those platforms when you can just use a Goomba? You're supposed to hit another gravity switch here, but these elevator platforms are conveniently placed right next to where you need to go. That saves a lot of time. It's actually easier than taking the gravity switches. So, I'm gonna grab Fire Mario here. And we're gonna do a technique where if you crouch while you're using a fireball, you can kind of cancel the animation and make fireballs at a bit more of a quicker rate. You can actually skip breaking some of those boxes, but if you get crushed by them, in this game, if you get crushed, you don't take damage, you automatically die. So, it's kind of scary to go for that. But here's just another big skip where you just skip all of that by just jumping on the sides of the wall, like, really easy. That's kind of actually kind of intended. That last part can be a little bit awkward. Right. So, yeah. Up next, I'm going to be doing the hidden star or secret star, so I'm going to be re-entering the level. And I'm gonna have to point at the screen to select the star. And I can skip the level intro cutscenes because I've already seen them.
Plus, it's faster.
So, we can just mash A here, and then skip both cutscenes. So I'm gonna do that backflip again. And I'm gonna kind of go for a cool little momentum jump here. Or if I hold neutral here and then jump, you might not know, you probably didn't notice it there, but you can get a jump with slightly more height. And you can use it to skip a wall jump if you do it right. I just want to point out before I do this, I am very, very bad at these block shooting games. Alright, so hopefully this goes well.
Boxes are out of control.
Okay, a 10 is alright for me. Optimally, I can get like a 12 if I do it perfectly. The thing about fireballs is that they don't come from Mario's center, they actually come from his right hand. So that's something you have to keep in mind when throwing those fireballs. Alright. So we're done with that galaxy now. That's actually the first galaxy you completely finish in this run. There's a few of those in this run. Where it says galaxy complete like that. Alright, so now Lava's going to introduce the Bang Toad to us. Which will come in handy for later on. Here's Fluffy Fluff Galaxy, we're introduced to Cloud Mario. Cloud Mario kind of has his own set of broken physics, which we'll get to see a lot of throughout these first couple of stars. On this first star, I'm going to be doing the secret star first. I'm actually going to be collecting 100 coins to defeat a Hungry Luma. This is the first Hungry Luma star in the game, and it requires the most coins out of any one of them, which is kind of funny. So, thankfully though, all the coins are kind of in like 2 spots. There's something kind of funny you can do. I can long jump into this cloud power to make Mario face the camera while long jumping like that. So you just kind of get these coins and collect these coins. If I run out of time here, then that loses a lot of time. I have to do the other star. Alright. Yeah, I grabbed that star bit right before the type transition. Alright, I'm allowed to miss one point here. I'm going to skip those 3 so I can leave this room with exactly 60. Because there's exactly 40 on the top cloud. So hopefully I don't miss any of these coins. Alright then. If you miss a coin, you have to go back down to the bottom of the cloud and get another one. Oh, you made it through. In case you haven't noticed, this game has a really awesome soundtrack. It's kind of one of the plus sides of running the Galaxy games, is you get to listen to their awesome music. So now we're going to be climbing this tower pretty fast. While climbing that tower, I use a technique called cloud canceling, where if you crouch right after you make a cloud, you cancel the animation, And you can also utilize the clouds to kind of bounce. There's a mechanic in this game where if the platform underneath you is moving upwards and you jump, then your jump gets added height, because a moving platform's momentum will apply to Mario's jumps. And that's going to be also abused a few times throughout this run in some crazy ways. We're going to be seeing a little bit more of it on this next star.
So is crouching
So
just
Fluffy Buff 1 has a pretty big skip that I'm going to be utilizing here with Cloud Mario. So I'm going to get on top of this tree, which is a little harder than it looks for backflips. And now I'm going to long jump off the corner of this cloud here and use a couple of clouds to basically skip all the way to the final planet of the level. I'm able to do so because when you're long jumping from the center of a cloud and you're in mid-air as Cloud Mario, you get a bit more momentum. You kind of gain speed in mid-air. And right here I'm doing a technique called cloud boosting, where by long jumping after making a cloud, you kind of are able to once again abuse the cloud's momentum. And lead to some pretty good boosts. Alright, so there we go. We're gonna head down to the engine room to see Cloud Mario being unlocked. You don't actually get to use the power-up in the engine room, you just kind of get to look at it, and I guess you can brag about it if you want. But, yeah. We'll be heading down here a few times in this run, but don't worry, we'll find ways around it to save time.
Yeah, let me know when we got time for some donations, since we got a couple.
There's a donation? Oh, okay.
There's one from Strawberry Speedruns, from probably while you were doing Pac-Man, that said, do SMG2 perfect run. I just want a nap fan.
Alright.
So that incentive was actually met.
Alright, cool. I get to do the 240-second star after this one. Alright.
Yeah.
Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, the first of the boss levels. There's 6 of them, 1 per world. And they alternate between Bowser Jr. and Bowser levels. And this one sucks. The movement here is actually... Okay, I spun there because it's easy to just block and die. Okay, so I'm going to have to wait an extra clone cycle. The movement in this stage is pretty bad to get the optimal cycle, and I have to actually wait an extra clone cycle because I messed it up. But you can just skip all the way to the end of the level just by using gravity there. And I did what's called a frame-perfect ground pound, where if you spin and ground pound on the same frame, you can actually cancel the spin and ground pound. And that's the most effective way to ground pound out of a long jump. But again, it's frame-perfect at 60 FPS, so I'll go for it often, but it's kind of rare that I'll get it. Alright, so this is Gobble Gut. Any Galaxy 2 runner, every pro Galaxy 2 runner hates this boss. Because if one part of this goes wrong, then you're going to be losing a lot of time. Up to 20 seconds. So you can kind of... He's supposed to bury his face into the ground, but you can kind of hit the bellyache bulges while he's in midair. And the first phase is easy, but the second phase is typically where things go wrong for me. That was a perfect Gobble Gut. That was a very nice... And, here's the fun part. In any percent, I have to fight this boss twice. Because, I'm going to be doing the Comet in this star. So, we're going to be collecting this star, and that's the end of the World 1 segment. That was a really good World 1. Like, I believe this is going to be... This is actually ahead of my PB by quite a lot, and this is also about 15 seconds off my best pace ever. So this is really good. And we do have to deal with this annoying cutscene after every single world. So I hope you like it.
Alright. Well, we've got another donation from the one whose shape was snatched for $1, who says, Yoshi doesn't die, he just goes to the Shadow Realm. Good luck, Viper.
Thank you.
From Drago.
Alright. So now we're going to be heading on to World 2. One of the shorter worlds in this game in terms of the segments. So, well, we're only spending about like 20 minutes here. We're only going to be getting 7 stars in this segment. And the first level, Puzzle Playing Galaxy, is pretty basic in terms of it's just kind of straightforward. It has cool music, obviously, because, I mean, it is the Puzzle Playing song. A lot of memes have been made out of it. But for the most part, this level is pretty straightforward. Where it gets interesting is actually on the last planet, which is this puzzle kind of thing, that bug puzzle, the picture block, I guess. I don't know. Alright. So I'm going to kind of do a small skip on this planet here. I'm going to skip ground pounding those platforms just by backflipping to the launch star. Probably the easiest, one of the easier skips in this game. Not the easiest, but one of the easiest. I'm going to go for a nice little triple jump here. It's kind of hard to make this without a wall jump. And I'm not going to do it. But yeah, you can, that's another small skip. I'm probably gonna get hit by a saw here. Yeah. Uh-oh. So this planet is weird in terms of gravity because, for whatever reason, because of the way gravity works on here, sometimes you can just get 2 stomps on these blocks with only 1 ground pound, but I didn't get any there. It's kind of random when it happens. You know, I have just a small little mini boss fight. It's pretty easy. That was a pretty good puzzle flank overall. Now we have a small little unskippable world map sequence coming up. The level is going to introduce the grand world map to us, which makes navigating between worlds a little bit easier, and I am going to be utilizing this later on in the run. If I ever need to like backtrack or head back to various worlds, I'll use this to do so. Next is Hightail Falls Galaxy, or as I like to say in my worst southern accent ever, Hightail Falls. This first star is actually pretty cool, because it's one of the cooler Yoshi stars in the run, in my opinion. Not only to play, but also to watch. At a very high level, this star can look really impressive to a casual viewer. I'm also going to be collecting star bits throughout this level, just because while you're on Yoshi, you can't spit out star bits, and there's a lot of star bits in this level, so you might as well go ahead and collect them. This is the only time I'll be doing that, by the way. So this is Dash Yoshi. The Dash Pepper makes Yoshi go really fast, and you can also cover up slopes. And it actually lasts in between launch stars. So we're going to be basically trying to keep this effect for as long as possible, which means I'm going to be going up this left path to get this Dash Pepper. Just to make sure I can keep the effect throughout the launch star. And I'm also going to be grabbing this one a little bit late, again, just to prolong its effect. You can do these cool jumps at the end of these ramps here, If you just jump at the edge and then you get really high jumps, it's, as far as I'm concerned, completely useless and doesn't save or lose time. There's one of the easier infinite flutter skips in the game. This infinite flutter is so easy, you actually don't even have to crouch during the flutter. You can just let each flutter's cooldown time run out, and then begin fluttering again. You don't even have to dismount off of Yoshi, but just to play it safe, I go ahead and do that. Right. This part looks really good. So, basically what I just did there is if you like as I said earlier, when you dismount off of Yoshi, you maintain all your momentum. So when you have Dash Yoshi and you're going up a steep slope like that and you dismount, you get a lot of height. And you can use that to just travel straight into the star. It's one of my favorite tricks in this game. Next up is Cosmic Cove Galaxy, which is, personally, it's not personally, but it's a pretty, like, it's a water level, so you might expect it to be boring, but there's actually quite a bit that goes into this level in terms of, like, routing and stuff. So this is a pretty cool level. I'm gonna, for example, on this first star, I'm actually gonna be collecting 15 coins to defeat a Hungry Luma, but then I'm not, okay, that's a jump cancel, by the way. But then I'm not going to be collecting Hungry Luma Star. Because of how this level is laid out, that's how it works out. If you kill these enemies with star bits, you get coins from them rather than just star bits. I'm going to be using the shell here, because unlike Galaxy 1, there's a delay in between spins when you're underwater. So it doesn't really matter if you use underwater spins or the shell, they're both the same speed. But you have to do less exercise when you have the shell, so we're going to be lazy bums and just get the shell. And now we're going to collect this big coin to get this slime coins through here. And this huge amount of coins, as you can see, is right next to the common medal. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. We're going to break in order to do it. And this comet medal is right next to where the switch that freezes the lake, and the switch that freezes the lake is right next to the Hungry Luma, so it kind of all works out. So this Hungry Luma star is actually going to be the next star I do. So we'll be seeing that after this one. I'm going to go ahead and head over to that frozen waterfall, just to kind of wall jump up it and then get to the first star. Alright, there we go. Okay, so for this next star, I'm going to want to be careful here, because I don't want to auto-select, because if I do, I'll select Cosmic Cove 2, and if I do that, I'm going to have to exit the level and then re-enter, because I can't get the Secret Star on Cosmic Cove 2. I can only do it on Cosmic Cove 1, so I have to make sure I point at the screen and select Cosmic Cove 1. But first you have to watch this male toad walk around for a little bit. Interestingly, this time can be shortened depending on how many text boxes you activate beforehand. And a couple other factors that I am unaware of. And to re-enter to do the secret star. So I'm going to go ahead and again just head straight to the shell here. And on the way here, I am going to be picking up star bits. Just because I said I'm going to shoot out star bits for every level doesn't mean I'm going to not be able to use them for some things in the levels. What am I going to be using these star bits for? Well, you'll see in a little bit, hopefully. I haven't been very consistent at this strat recently, so I did it a couple times yesterday in practice, so we'll see how this goes. As you can see, we have a bunny here. And I'm going to try to catch him using these star bits without freezing the lake. So now I just have to freeze the lake and escape to the enemy. So what I was trying to do there was stun him with star bits, and then catch him without freezing the lake, but it's kind of finicky because you're basically required to use widescreen in order to do it. So that was a bit unfortunate that I failed that. I need to practice that. Even though I was able to get it in practice the other day. Alright, so now I'm going to be heading to Boulder Bowl 1. I could have done this star a little bit earlier, but the thing is, I'm going to be collecting this as my 15th star, and by doing so, when you collect Boulder Bowl 1, you're sent down to the engine room to see Rock Mario. And when you collect 15 stars, you're sent up to the mail tote to get a letter. So I go to the by collecting the stars, my 15th star, I get sent down to the engine room first, and then I'm automatically warped up to the mail tote. And that just kind of saves some walking time. Alright, and now Boulder Bowl 1, there's going to be a huge skip I can use in this level. Where I'm going to skip the second planet of this galaxy, which is just a really slow planet featuring a bunch of enemies you have to kill. And you can do it both with and without Rock Mario, but with Rock Mario it's a lot harder. And it's very easy to die jumping this. That's kind of a mid-air rock jump, which I'll explain later on in the run when I get the chance. I'm going to try to skip here. Hopefully I get it. Alright, I got it. So I have a bit of a visual cue for that. I look for a certain star, and once it goes off the top of the screen, that's when I spin. That's very good. And now we're going to fight Rollodillo, one of the harder bosses of the run. Or at least for me anyways, because I don't know how to do it properly. So what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to hit it from behind. I'm going to kind of make sure I never end up in its line of sight, because if I do, then it will do this rolling attack that wastes a lot of time. Now the game never tells you that you can do this, but you can actually cancel out of Rock Mario form early by doing the same inputs that you would normally do for a ground pound. Uh-oh, it's going to do the rolling attack. I don't want him to hit me either. So this is going to cost me a lot of time. When I was doing that jump spin there, I was trying to extend my roll a little bit just so I could hit it quicker. And ended up paying the price for it. It's okay though. I still managed. As long as you get the skip without dying, you're pretty much good to go on that star. That skip is very hard to do successfully. Okay, so now we're gonna see the overall movement of Starship Mario movement that I explained earlier. As you can see, I get the Rock Mario, and I'm moving straight up here to get a letter for a star that I'm not even gonna collect. But this also places me right next to the bank tower. Now, this is kind of a new game plus, because these are star bits from another save file that I've already completed, but this is allowed for any percent. Don't worry. Alright. And I'm going to be using...
Legit.
What? What'd you say?
Seems legit.
Yeah. These are the star bits I'm going to be using to unlock Hungry Luma galaxies throughout the run, and you might be wondering, well, why are you unlocking them? Doesn't that take a really long time? Yes, but the Hungry Luma stars are usually really fast as well, just like I said about common stars. So that's why I'm never going to be farming star bits for this run, because I'm literally just going to get them all from the bank toad. Alright. So... for instance, this first star that I'm going to be doing is... this first Hungry Luma star that I'm going to do is really, really fast. I'm going to be getting getting the secret star from Honey Bloom. I'm never ever going to use B Mario in this run because B Mario is slow and we don't want to ever have to resort to that. This is the only star in a B galaxy I'm ever going to be collecting, and there's only 2 of them in the entire game anyways. So, yeah. As you can see, that star is relatively short, so it's definitely worth going out of the way to collect. Okay, so we got another clash of events here. We can just, as you can see, when you collect 16 stars, you get that little sign next to the helm there. And then when you collect Honey Bloom Secret, that B appears on the starship. Alright, time for our first Bowser level. All these Bowser levels have some really cool strats you can utilize to save time pretty much everywhere. So we're going to start with Bowser's Lava Lair, which doesn't really have any major skips, but there's just a lot of small things here and there that you can do that just kind of add up. Which is kind of how this game works, it's just small skips everywhere that add up over the course of a run. So for starters, alright, I gotta jump cancel. So for starters, you're supposed to kill that Magic Koopa to make a full star here, unless you decide to just launch up into the Lance Crowd field. And now I can side flip here to skip this switch. That's actually a strat I just recently began using in runs. Oh, I want that. So I'm grabbing this Super Mushroom to give me some extra health because I'm going to be doing some lava boosting here and there. So I'm going to want this coin here because I'm going to do a small skip here that involves me to take that requires that I take 2 damage. So this skips the fight with the Hammer Bro. Just lava boosting around here. I grab this coin here just to give me a little bit of leeway with my health. There are a variety of ways you can collect this common medal, but I'm just going to choose to collect it that way because it's easier. So coming up is another this is kind of the biggest skip of the level, I guess, because it skips a bunch of auto scrollers. A couple snake block sections, really. And I'll explain it once I do it. If I do it. So how that works is when Mario falls into lava, and he then lands on the ground, he normally does a short little hop before and then once he lands from that short little hop, you're able to regain control of Mario. So what I did there is I took damage, landed on the first statue where I did the first short hop, but then that state gets conserved once I land in the lava, and then once I land on the second statue, I'm immediately able to begin long jumping. And it requires at least 4 health, which is why I grabbed that Super Mushroom at the beginning. Because it's faster than the alternate method of that skip by a long shot. So here's Bowser. Bowser fights in this game, for the most part, are pretty uninteresting. You basically wait for Bowser to slam his fist into the ground, and then he makes meteors pop out. Well, basically Bowser throws a bunch of meteors onto the planet, then he slams his fist into the ground and gets stuck, so you can use that time to ground on the meteors in him. And it's really basic, just fighting for meteors. It's kind of boring. I do try to optimize my hits, however, by making sure I get Bowser's punch as close to the meteors as possible, and then ground pounding as close to his fists as possible. Sometimes that can be a little bit risky, but we'll be fine. Don't worry. So I want to pay attention to where that fire attack ends, because that's where he's going to start aiming his next punch. And if I am where Bowser's going to start punching, he'll punch right away. Oh yeah, meteors can destroy other meteors, and Bowser's fist can actually punch away a meteor, so I'm going to be really careful about that. It looks like he's going to do that here. Alright, there we go. That was a alright World 2, aside from Cosmic Hope Secret, I failed the money grab. Alright, there we go. So I guess you could kind of say we're 2/6 of the way done with the game, or a third, but it's actually a bit more than that.
Oh, it's actually more than that?
It's actually probably less than that, actually. Because we have 17 stars out of 71 here. So, we still got a long ways to go. But we're already done with World 2. And now we're moving on to World 3, which is one of the longer segments of the run, and also one of the harder ones. There's a lot of really difficult stars in World 3. And also, during World 3, comets are going to begin appearing. I'll go into more detail on that once they actually do start appearing. So, and you get a lot of stars in this segment, so we're here for quite a while. I actually personally like Lava's dialogue better than Rosalina's. I personally think he had some better dialogue. Also, I got a 420 time. Nice.
Star went out with a blaze.
Yep. There we go. World 3. So the first star I'm going to do, Cloudy Court 1. Right off the bat, we've got some pretty difficult stars in World 3 here. Oh yeah. Pardon my fan, it likes to act up like this really quickly. It shouldn't be a huge issue though. Alright, so we're going to be seeing a bit more cloud boosting action this level, but the most important part about this level is at the end, there's these crushers that I'm going to try to make an early cycle on, but if I miss the cycle, then I'll lose a few seconds or potentially get crushed and die. So we're going to see how that goes. So I got this cloud flower. I'm going to do a technique here that I'm actually going to use twice in this level, where I'm going to cloud boost. Okay, that could have ended badly. So I'm going to cloud boost into a cloud flower, and then get the 3 clouds from that cloud flower. So essentially I used 4 clouds. And I'm going to try to get on top of this drum. I'm going to try to use a ledge grab to kind of get on top of this drum. And now using a couple of clouds, I can skip this launch star. I'm going to try to make it all the way over to this cloud over here. That Octumba is the worst enemy known to mankind, but thankfully did not wreck me. So now, we're going to kind of head up here. And we're going to do another 4 cloud strat here. And coming up are the crushers, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to be using How To Cantaloupe setup for this. Or at least something that kind of resembles it. Alright, I made it. There we go. So at least I made that one cycle. That's pretty difficult to make. And there's a lot of different setups you can use for it. Alright. Next star is kind of a fun one for the chat. Okay, so this next star is a skating minigame with points that you can collect. I do like to aim for a max score because no matter what, you can't speed the game up. The minigame duration is fixed at 40 seconds. So I like to have a little fun. So, if you want to guess what score I'm going to get, you have a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, guess between 500 and 900 points. That's 500 is the minimum you need, and 900 is pretty much as high as I'll probably be able to go ever. And also only guess in multiples of 10. So if you want to place your bets, chat, feel free to do so. Okay, how did that work? How did that work? I'm confused. Whatever. When I did this for HRDQ, chat went ridiculously insane. Kind of amazing. Here we go. Let's see what I can get. Do you have any bets?
Just one, 740.
Yeah. So you win because you were the only one who guessed, and therefore you were the closest. You win bragging rights. That's all. So there's 3 chim challenges that I'm going to be doing in this run. I'm doing the shorter 3 ones. There's a couple others that have like a 2-minute timer duration. And those are definitely not worth it for any percent. Alright, now I'm going to do Freezy Flake 1. I'm on a bit of a timer for this star. And it's in terms of the fire flowers. So once I reach the second planet, the fire flower that I'm going to grab there, I'm going to try to keep all the way to the comet metal section of the level. I'm going to try to get the comet metal using this fire flower right here. So again, I'm on a pretty tight schedule here, and if I miss this, then I lose around 20 seconds. But if I get past that part, usually I'm good to go. I kind of messed up the triple jump there, but luckily I can just side flip this as well. Alright, I'm not actually sure if that's faster, but you can get an extra fireball hit on the Bowser statue before you are able to land in the lava. And you can only have to do 2 fireball throws once you reach the end. Although it does delay hitting the lava, so whether or not it actually saves time, I'm not sure. But I usually say it's worth going for. Okay. So this is Luigi here. Luigi will start appearing at the start of various levels now, but I'm never gonna unlock him. Because Luigi, he does run faster and jump higher than Mario does. And so he technically is faster to use, but the thing is, you do have to talk to him to unlock him. And also, he talks to you after the star, and you can only use him for that 1 star. So it's never worth it to unlock him.
remember, kids, it's never worth it to unlock Luigi.
Although, you can switch between him and Mario freely after you beat Galaxy Generator, but that's kind of the goal of this run. So, we're never going to be able to freely unlock Luigi in this run. Although, in 242 Star, we're able to switch between them immediately after beating the 90% portion of the run. So this is kind of the spooky level of the run. These first couple of paths are on cycles, so there's not a whole lot you can do to manipulate those, but these next two paths actually activate when you enter a certain trigger zone. So we can skip some of the waiting though. Okay, I might have to wait an extra cycle here, but I'm good. That common metal platform cycle is really weird. It, like, is dependent on when you enter the launch star. Also, we have Yoshi here, so guess what we're going to do?
You're gonna go high, jump long.
Yeah. Just infinite flutter all the way over to the star. Okay, so now something special is going to happen here because I have 4 stars from World 3 now. So this means comets are going to start appearing. How comets work and how you unlock them is basically you need a certain amount of comet metals total, and you also need the comet metal for that specific galaxy. So Cloudy Quartz Comet is going to be the first to spawn because I got its comet metal and I only need 1 comet metal. That's actually where I'm going to be heading next. I'm going to be collecting a total of 32 comet metals in this run. The star that requires the most comet metals in this run is going to be the Gravity Gauntlet Comet. And as I said earlier, a lot of comet metals are kind of out of the way to collect, but a lot of the comet stars are really, really fast. So they're almost always worth collecting. Like this one is just under a minute. So, funny thing about the song name is that it's called Cosmic Clones, but this is the only Cosmic Clone mission it's used on. It's kind of funny. So I'm going to be doing kind of a cool thing here, where if you just barely touch the edge of these starships, I'm going to try to see if I can get all 5 of them without ever spawning the Cosmic Clones. If you barely touch the edge of them, then okay, I get it. Then the Cosmic Clones will never spawn in this section. You can get through all 5 of those without spawning the Cosmic Clones, but it's hard to do fast. Alright, and now this is a section where basically you do not want to screw up in any way, because these Cosmic Clones make backtracking incredibly hard. Especially because this is in 2D and not 3D. The next star is another one of my favorite ones. It just is a really cool star with the strats you use. It's Tall Trunk 1. Unfortunately, we will not be doing Tall Trunk 2, which is the slide. I know a lot of people are fans of that level. And a lot of these comments are going to start building up now, and I'm going to make a couple of return trips back for them later on in the run. So Tall Trunk is full of a lot of really cool strats that, when done optimally, make the star a really flashy one. For example, on this first planet, you're supposed to use Yoshi and the Blimp Fruit to climb up this tree, but once again, Mario can kind of jump, so we can just use these various jumps and whatnot to... Okay, this is a bad angle. To basically skip Yoshi entirely from this first section, because infinite fluttering upwards is actually really slow, and so it's because infinite fluttering is not useful for us, neither is Yoshi. Alright, we made it up second try, pretty good. And now we're going to be using Yoshi. And I'm going to try to get this common metal. It's pretty awkward with this infinite flutter I'm going to do. When backwards infinite fluttering, if you mess up at all, you can no longer go backwards. So you have to be really careful about that. Just gonna be cutting these 5-star ships. I'm gonna dismount Yoshi here, not only to make getting to the launch star a bit faster, but also because I'm gonna be able to perform a ground pound on this planet, and Yoshi will already be in his egg. Because if you leave Yoshi dormant for a while, they'll turn back into an egg. Yeah, sometimes in this game, when you want to hold a specific direction, Mario will just go the completely wrong direction. It's really weird, and it's not exactly clear how it works. Yeah, we kind of were forced to use the Bloom Fruit here because we have no other option. Because again, it's actually faster to use this than Infinite Flutter upwards, because Infinite Fluttering upwards, as I said earlier, is very slow. And we don't like Yoshi, so we're going to dismount him at the last second. No one likes Yoshi. Right. I just want to point out something right now while I'm doing so. I'm actually not using splits, and so I am doing this route completely from memory. So I hope I don't make any mistakes there. I shouldn't really, though. This route is pretty easy to memorize once you do the route a few times.
Well, you say that, but there are so many little tricks.
Yeah, but I've done this route from memory several times. It's nothing new to me. Anyways, here's Honey Halls 2. This star is basically a bunch of long jumps. Occasionally a spin, and possibly a single jump. But yeah, it's just this. It's a relatively short star. The thing about long jumps in this game is that they're actually a bit harder to optimize than one might think, because if you press Z and A at exactly the same time when you long jump, then Mario doesn't crouch, and so he'll retain his momentum once you land. And you only have a very small window to do that. And when doing continuous long jumps like this, you have like a 4-frame window to press A, where the jump is actually optimal. Okay. Alright. Now we're gonna be chased by boos. That's the least of our concern. Overall, not a hard level. So, we're going to be doing another Hungry Limit Galaxy now. This one is Beat Block. It's pretty interesting in that it has some interesting mechanics we can use, but a thing about this Hungry Luma is that it's actually a bit different than the remaining ones. For whatever reason, the last star bit always shoots out late. For just, I don't know why it happens, but it allows me to, if you notice during these Hungry Luma cutscenes, you can kind of move, and so during them I set up a backflip, and then once I'm almost done filling them up, I can back them straight to the helm, and so I don't have to wait nearly as long to get to the helm. That saves a little bit of time. Okay, Beat Block 1 is another level that I actually really don't like. The blocks will alternate between the green ones being active and the yellow ones being active every 8 beats of the song on this star. And so this is a very cycle-based level, and making the fast cycles is really, really hard. So, let's see how this goes. I didn't get the jump cancel, so it's going to be even harder now. Okay, it's now impossible. This is kind of slow. So that's just like one full cycle behind where I normally am. I guess I didn't die though. In one of my practice attempts, I died twice on this star. So I'm very happy that that went well. Okay, so now I'm actually going to be heading back to Worlds 1 and 2 to clear up a few of the Comet stars. Partly just because I don't have enough stars to unlock the boss level yet. So I'm going to exit World 3 and then head back to World 1. And we're going to do Sky Station Galaxy first. We're going to do this level's Comet first. This is a speedrun comment, and apparently Nintendo thinks speedrun is spelled with a space. Because they're bad. I don't know. So, this galaxy is kind of this star is kind of a shortened version of the first star, but you only have 20 seconds from the get-go, but there's clocks that will give you an additional 10 seconds throughout. So this is mostly just involved out making sure you grab these clocks. And I don't do a jump cancel there because you're immediately able to move after the That's one of the few stars where that's... Okay, so I'm on a different platform cycle than I normally am, so normally I would just long jump across the gap and then grab that block, but because that platform's in my way, I just want to go ahead and use it. And we just got to refresh Kiwi Prawn again, same as last time. There's a weird soft lock you can get on Kiwi Piranha that I don't think it's going to happen, but it might. Where if you like shoot a starbit at him right before the cutscene, then the cutscene never starts, and so he's just kind of sitting there, and you can't interact with him in any way. On this star, it's not too bad because you could just let the timer run out and you will die. But on Sky Station 1, if that happens, you have to reset because there's like, you can't exit the level or anything, and if you reset the game, you have to start the file over. So, luckily though, that didn't happen. It rarely ever happens. Next, I'm going to do the Yoshi Star comment. Although, even though this is called Yoshi Star Galaxy, the comment does not actually involve Yoshi. So this is a Womp Star. I'm going to have to kill 30 Spinies in a time limit. And to do that, I'm going to be using the Rainbow Star, which kind of speeds Mario up, and once you reach your top speed, you actually run really fast, and I'm going to try to maintain that speed for as long as possible, but it's very hard to do that. Because you basically can't run into walls, and yeah, you just can't run into walls, and that's very hard to do. And this jump right here is hard to preserve me or something through. Okay, I didn't get that spiny, so I'm going to get it later. Grab that Rainbow Star on the way, otherwise, because you can't really use the star on one Rainbow Star. I have to make sure I kill these Spinies and they die on camera, because if a moving object isn't on camera, then its position won't update. So I have to be careful about that. So basically, it's very confusing. You can sometimes get to the end there and it'll just say 29 out of 30 Spinies and you'll have no idea where the last one is, and then you flip the camera around for a little bit and then it just dies. But I am going to be actually taking advantage of the moving objects don't move unless they're on screen later on in the round. There's quite a few places where that can be abused. Okay, so next up is Flip Swap Galaxy, and this level has a really neat mechanic on it. First we gotta unlock it because it's a Hungry Luma Galaxy. So this level features blue and red platforms, and it'll switch between the blue ones being active and the red ones being active every time you spin. But the mechanic I'm going to be abusing here is once again upwards momentum from platforms applying to Mario's jumps. So I'm going to try to spin to activate, to get one of the platforms to flip upwards, and then long jump on it as it's rising upwards, and I can get some really sick boosts with this. There's a lot of names for them. I call them super jumps, but there's 4 of them that I'm going to go for, and the first 2 are very, very hard to do without dying. It's very likely that I will die to one of these first 2. So let's see how this goes. The last 2 are free though. Also, hi Luigi. Okay, I got the first one. That's the easier of the 2. Okay. I'm dead. Yeah, that second one is very difficult. I'm just not gonna go for it. I'm not gonna bother with it. Okay. I probably should not have tried it that way. I'll try this first one until I get it again. It is kind of the biggest time saver in that. There we go. Okay. Grab that checkpoint. If I didn't if I did the second super jump, I'd have to skip that checkpoint, so I'm actually kind of happy that I resorted to that. Yeah, you can cancel a spin with a normal jump or a long jump like that, and that can be used to your advantage in this level when switching the platforms. Okay, so 2 deaths, kind of bad, but, you know, we'll take it. It only cost me like, 35 seconds, nothing too much. Those are kind of my first deaths of the run, so we'll take it. So the next star I'm going to be doing is Puzzle Playing Comet, which will, and the reason why I'm going to do it now is because this star unlocks all purple coin comets in the game. However, in order to unlock this star, you actually need Cloudy Core Comet because that star unlocks all the Shadow Mario comets in the game, and this is kind of a Shadow Mario comet. So, basically, there's just 100 purple coins in this room, and we're going to collect them all. It's actually a bit harder than one might think, because collecting purple coins and running around quickly with Cosmic Cones following you is easier said than done. It's very hard to collect all 4 of them in a single run through. You have a very small window to hit. And it's very easy to miss them. Okay, I tried to jump there to save some time, because when Mario's in midair like that, he actually moves faster than if he just walks. So I'm doing small jumps here to kind of speed Mario up. Okay, forget that. Okay, I'm not gonna die, don't worry. That wasn't too great. Now we're going to be able to move on to the World 3 boss, Fearsome Plate. Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Plate. You have to get there first, then, of course, because this is Galaxy 2. You have to wait off. So yeah, Flip Swap's Comet is unlocked. Now it's a purple coin comet. I'm not actually going to be collecting it. That's one of 4 comets I'm going to be unlocking, but not collecting. I only got the comet medal just to add to my comet medal total. And the same applies to galaxies that have comet medals but don't have comets. I'm collecting them just to add to my total. So, in Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet, the entire level is basically one height, and you get Yoshi right at the start. So, I'm going to be going for the hardest method of this level. It's called the question block flutter strat. There's 3 consecutive flutters I have to do here, and the last 2, especially the last one, are very difficult. So we'll see how this goes. And I'm only going to try this once. I just want to show it off. Like, I'm only going to try the last flutter once. If I fail, then I'll do the normal flutter. If I fail any other flutters, I'll try again. Alright, so now I need a really good angle here in order to get this last flutter. I need to be able to drop this common metal. Oh, dang it. Okay, that's really bad. I actually think I'm just going to go ahead and try that again. That's a pretty big time loss, though. I went really low there. I kind of dropped a flutter at the wrong time. There we go. Alright, that's fine. That's only like 45 seconds if I had to guess. Probably less than that because both of my attempts went really well. Both of my attempts were pretty fast. Alright. So that last flutter requires a really good angle because you need to grab the common metal. Then you have to go really low in order to get underneath the structure and then quickly go back up again. And doing that can be really difficult. But it only gets a bit worse from here because this is Mega Hammer, the boss, and it's motion control based, so, and pointer based actually. What the? Okay, yeah. If for whatever reason your pointer messes up on you, Yoshi can just throw whatever's in his mouth straight forward. This one actually over here. So this is really bad. I need to hit him one more time. So I'm going to get 3 bullet bills to come over here, and I'm going to use the first 2 to take out this back weak spot. I was going to try to get the 3rd one in Yoshi's mouth, but I got knocked off of Yoshi, unfortunately, so I'm going to resort to back our strats. Okay. This is a really, really bad Mega Hammer. Alright, there we go. That was a really bad Fearsome Fleet attack. I died to question block flutter and had a really bad Mega Hammer. I probably lost about a minute there. We'll see. Kind of something you have to deal with. So that's the end of World 3, at least that segment. So let's see. Oh yeah, I lost way over a minute there. It's like minute 15 if I had to guess, compared to an optimal Fearsome Fleet. Alright, time for World 4. which is which is probably the hardest world in the run. A lot of these stars are very difficult to pull off, and messing them up can result in death and a lot of time loss. Generally, if you're not a fan of hard tricks, this world is full of them.
I think everyone's in the mood to see a few hard tricks.
So the first star we're going to be doing is in Sweet Mystery Galaxy, so we're going to have to beat this Hungry Luma. This level's kinda... It's not necessarily fast like Honey Bloom fast, but it's still real fast. So, I'll go ahead and spoil this level for you guys. Remember how the last level had a lot of infinite fluttering? This level is more or less the same. You get Yoshi from the get-go, and the level's all one height, so we're going to be able to use infinite fluttering more damage here. We have the Bolt Berry, which kind of gives Yoshi the ability to eliminate and therefore make solid certain platforms. Right, so let the madness begin. I have to stop this in a little bit early because of my angle. See if I can get the checkpoint here. I can kind of nail it with Yoshi's tongue. Alright, I had an opportunity, but I wasn't able to. It should be fine though. This last infinite flutter isn't very hard. That last infinite flare actually can be a little bit scary because if you fall, you can't actually die because I skipped the launch star and the kill plane kind of unloads. So instead, you just hit an invisible floor and you have to spend like 20 seconds to long jump off the edge until you just die. And since I didn't grab the checkpoint, I would have had to start the level all over again. So thankfully that didn't happen. That would have lost me well over a minute. I actually used to do that infinite flutter without taking that Bolt Berry, which is actually a bit riskier because you can't land on the platform to save yourself. Alright, time for a Flipsville Galaxy. All three of Flipsville stars are really, really cool. Like, there's a lot of really unique strats that we can do in them. Flipsville 1 in particular is probably the most impressive looking one. So I'm going to go ahead and get over this Con Metal here. I'll just kind of launch above the ledge here. And now gravity will allow me to go kind of way over here. Now because I skipped that first launch star, I can actually do this. I could go to the Star Shroom, but no. I'm going to go all the way to the boss planet. That's a really, really unique skip. You kind of use the momentum of that slope to give yourself enough backwards momentum to make it all the way over there. So for this boss fight, this Glamdozer fight, the entire boss is vulnerable to ground pound, not just this target on its back. So you can actually just ground pound its chin once it becomes vulnerable. And it's pretty easy. There we go, we're already done with that level. There's a couple of different ways you can actually go about doing those stars in terms of skips, but the method I did is obviously the fastest by a long shot. You can actually skip from the first second your planet directly to the third, for instance. And that can be used in the green stars. Oh yeah, with the Hungry Limit Galaxies I'm unlocking, you actually need 5,000 starbits for the route, and I usually aim for around 4,850 from the Bang Toad. Because 150 of the starbits are going to come from the outside waters. I get 3 of them, that give me 50 each. Alright, Flipstill 2. Flipstill 2 is more technical, but isn't as skip heavy as Flipstill 1 was. It probably doesn't really look as cool. Yeah, you're supposed to use a spin drill on these first 2 planets, but we're not going to have to bother with that at all. This first long jump that I'm going to go for, though, is kind of risky, as it's very easy to bonk. And you just fall to your death if that happens. Okay, I'm just gonna play it safe and right there. Alright, so now I'm gonna have to try to catch a cycle in this area. If I don't get it, then I'll lose a little bit of time. Alright, that's good. Making that cycle is pretty difficult. So from here, this is kind of an auto-scroller. Just kind of have to wait.
Well, as far as I can tell, there are no new donations yet.
Well, thankfully, Ron is not going to start. Something I should point out is that Mario's hitbox when drilling, it actually grows quite a bit. And so he can collect coins from really far away, which is actually going to come in handy for a couple stars from now. We're kind of going back and forth between Flipstill and Sweet Mystery here before we collect all the stars. The thing I should point out about Comets is that you actually, once you collect all the main stars in the galaxy, is when a Comet's supposed to unlock. So for instance, any stars that aren't secret stars, so in Sweet Mystery's case, it's just the first star. But Comets won't immediately spawn after you collect all the main stars. You have to have at least one star from a different galaxy in between. So this star is going to allow Flipstill's Comet to spawn right after that, because it's in between after I collected all of the Flipstill main stars. Anyways, this purple coin star is pretty straightforward. I'm not actually going to really need to resort to infinite flowering unless I need it as a last resort. But it's very hard to do this optimally because Yoshi walks really fast. And collecting purple coins while trying to go really fast is not easy. Also, whenever I'm jumping over a gap, I usually double tap A, because unlike with Mario, Yoshi's actually slower in midair, and so you want to reduce the amount of time you spend in the air. So, for the most part, the star is just kind of movement. And you can just see just one simple missing of a purple coin can cause you to have to go back for it. That went well. Couple mishaps here and there, but as long as we make it through with no major mistakes, I'm fine with it. They actually have 2 purple coin stars back to back here. Next we're going to do the Flipstill Comet. This star is kind of difficult. 106. I don't usually remember getting those kinds of times. But anyways. Flipstill Comet is another cycle-based star that relies on motion controls and also relies on being confident in the spin drill's hitbox. We're going to be able to use its big hitbox when drilling to collect purple coins. A lot of purple coins, usually from a pretty big radius, really quickly. And it's going to be... It'll look really impressive if I get the optimal cycle, which it's very tight to make the optimal cycle, but We'll see how it goes. I believe in optimal time I usually aim for these levels in 109, so anytime I lose, we'll be there with that. Alright, so this first room is the hardest part. Okay, that was a little sketchy, but I made it. I'm saving that bottom room for kind of 2 different tricks to it. And here we're going to use the hitbox to grab all those coins. Uh-oh. That's bad. That's an entire cycle gone. Okay, I'm going to go for this. It doesn't matter if I go for that or not. So ultimately I'd be here about 1 cycle earlier. There we go. Okay, that could have gone better, but we made it. Alright. At least you kind of got the idea. I was actually kind of ahead of I was actually kind of a bit faster than I normally am going into that second cycle. Going into that room on this stuff. So I only lost 8 seconds, not too bad. So now we're done with both of those galaxies for the rest of the run. We can move on to bigger and better things. When I say bigger things, I literally mean bigger things. Supermassive galaxy is where everything's kind of huge. In other words, we grow them big here. So for the beginning of this star, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that moving platforms don't move when they're on screen, and I'm actually going to turn the camera intentionally to get these swamps and this moving pipe on different cycles. To get them on cycles that I can favor a bit more. Okay, so this pipe jump is kind of hard. Okay, I made it. That was a little weird. You can farm lives with these Koopas, but I don't need to do that. Because the game auto-saves, so I don't even have to worry about game overing. And if you know what you're doing, you can never game over in this game. Okay. The Koopa's all lined up there to allow me to kind of throw all 3 of them without having to really move. Okay, so once again here, I'm just going to turn the camera to manipulate the cycles of those moving platforms up ahead. And I guess the wood doors are also affected by this, but I don't know. You know, the crossface. Yeah, in any percent, we actually used to do 2 stars from this level, but I'm only going to collect 1. I'm only going to collect this star, because it's actually faster to collect this thing to collect the secret star. There we go. So we're done with that, and now we're going to move to the Chompworks and Starshine Beach galaxies. We're going to be kind of going back and forth with them for a little bit. He 69 coins. Okay. So, Chompworks Galaxy is kind of one of the more boring galaxies, I guess you could say. There is a lot of tech that goes into these stars, but again, this first star is kind of based on a bunch of auto-scrollers. So, what I mean is, there's just going to be a lot of sections. Oh, I didn't realize that. Shaking the rear mode causes the launch star to spin around like that. That's really weird. Okay, so, anyways. This first planet's kind of a tight cycle to make. Let's see if I can make this. Wait for that jump to break before I hit that level. Grab the pound metal and then make it all the way back to here before this chump dies. I'm gonna long jump into this launch star because it'll completely cancel a landing stun on the next planet. It'll allow me to move right away. So on this next planet, I'm actually going to use a small little technique here where I'm going to barely hit the left side of that platform, and it's going to lower it just enough for this chomp to be able to make it once it goes through. And this last planet is basically an obstacle. There's nothing you can really do to speed it up unless you use co-op mode, but like I said, I don't really want to go into that. You can't make this earlier chomp cycle without JP, so you just kind of have to stick with it. And now, you just wait. I've got plenty of time to kill here. And
Well, I'm having a bit of trouble staying awake. No fault of yours, of course. It's just that it is 5:30 a.m. and I have not had any sleep yet.
okay, that was weird. So, for whatever reason, if you take damage right before a cutscene like that, then the cutscene just doesn't activate for some stupid reason until you're done with the damage animation. That's what happened there. I don't know if it loses any time or not.
Does that save time, or is it just a nuisance?
It doesn't skip the cutscene, it's just a nuisance. I lost time, obviously, because I took damage, but I don't know if the cutscene getting activated later actually loses time, because either way you have to wait for Mario to get back up. Alright, so who remembers the spring suit from when they played Galaxy 1? Because, yeah, it's making a comeback in this level. But this is the only star we're going to have to use it for, and we don't even have to use it for the entire star. Anyways, the spring suit is kind of slow, but thankfully, as I said earlier, we can avoid it for the most part. We're actually going to skip it entirely on these first two planets. On this first planet in particular, I use a... You saw that me do this on the first star, but if you just kind of run along the edge of the slope, you're unaffected by it because it's slow. It's a little precise, so you have to be in just the right alignment. Once again, we can skip this pretty much from here. Again, because Mario is down. And shouts for Pac-Man, but I don't actually want the star bits. Actually, I'll take a couple of them. Okay. There we go. You can actually skip the spin drill on this planet as well, but it's actually a lot slower to do that than just take it like a man. Okay. You can actually make this a platform cycle earlier, but it's very hard to make without getting the jump cancel because you can see this planet from the first planet of the galaxy. And if you make that cycle, it takes a minimum of 5 seconds. And just for the record, I am around a minute behind my PB right now, which is a 307, but my PB also has a lot of time save in late game. So, we'll see how this ending goes. This is a really good roll. This is a pretty solid roll 4 so far. I only made a few small mistakes. Now we're done with Chomp Works for the moment. Alright, triple jumps are a little hard to get. You need the right amount of momentum when actually starting on, otherwise when you do your third jump, you just do a normal jump. Okay, now now we're moving on to Starshine Beach Galaxy. If you're familiar with Mario Sunshine, you might remember that when Yoshi touches water in that game, he just dissolves. This game's kind of a makeup for that. Yoshi can do a lot more stuff with water in this game. But this level is really cool because the silver stars are kind of spread out all over the place. And with Yoshi, we have some pretty creative ways of getting from one to the other. Next. For whatever reason, I was trying to get a ground pound there, but it didn't work. So we're gonna get on Yoshi here and let the fun games begin. If I stand right next to this thing and then fire it, it'll break it. This flutter is a little weird because the camera doesn't exactly do a good job of showing you where you are in relation to this tower. So sometimes you can just get a really bad angle. And if you're too far back, you have to. If you're too far forward, you have to dismount. And if you're too far back, you have to slowly flutter forwards. As I said, once you're in the air for a really long period of time, you can no longer move like straight backwards. Alright, that went really well.
Shy get.
Yeah. This level does kind of pay homage to SMS. And once again, we just infinite fire to the star, because that's kind of the fastest thing to do when you have Yoshi. I'm pretty sure using a dash pepper is still faster than taking Yoshi, though. That was a really good Starshine Beach one, aside from missing the ground pound at the start. Okay, so now we're gonna do the second star for Starshine Beach Galaxy. This star is normally really long. You have to go underwater, you have to hit a switch to make a cloud appear at the top of the tower. You have to go over to the cloud, you have to get the cloud flower, and then you have to ride a leaf all the way over to the tower just so you can use the clouds to climb up the tower. That's all slow and boring, and we're speedrunners. We don't want to do that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use our friend Chuckster down there to launch ourselves all the way up onto the highest cloud, and when you're on a cloud without Cloud Mario or B Mario, you have a 6-frame window, which is a tenth of a second, to get a jump off of the cloud. And so we can use this to land on the highest cloud and skip basically the entire star. And I'm going to be turning the camera here, again, to manipulate the timing of the cloud. Back this up. There we go. So that skip saves probably close to around a minute. Oh yeah, to chat, when you're doing star get, you have to do it in all caps or it doesn't count. Alright, now we have exactly enough star bits we need for the remainder of the run. Okay, so next we're going to do Chompworks Comet, just to kind of clear that galaxy out. Starshine Beach's Comet isn't going to be unlockable until we have 28 Comet medals, so we're just going to save that for the end of the run. And this star also kind of sucks, because this is where the Cosmic Clones are really at their worst. One mistake here, and it's basically going to be impossible to recover, because the Cosmic Clones, again, make backtracking really, really hard. Alright, so let's see how this goes. If you activate the cutscene right as that chain chomp breaks, then the next one will appear super. Now I barely have enough time to get here. Now I have to make sure this chomp stays alive and that I don't die. Or don't make any mistakes, because I don't want that to be open in these other hands. I'm just going to kind of move slowly here because I need to make sure to keep these cosmic ones away from me for as long as possible. Okay. Gotta get there as fine. Let's hope I don't make the same mistake I made last time. Alright, redeem myself. This is a star that you can, this is like the only star that you can easily get an IL world record on, because since it's an auto-scroller, the best possible time is 51.20 seconds. And so it's like, I think probably like 10 people at this point probably hold a TWR on this star. Literally 3. But yeah, I got like 0.8 off of that. Alright, so now it's time for the World 4 boss stage, Bowser's Gravity Gauntlet. There are 2 stars I'm going to be getting in Gravity Gauntlet, and both of them have a really cool skip I can do in them. This first skip that I'm going to do is called Behind the Castle. So basically, in the 2D section of the castle, it's actually possible to go behind it, and behind there is a bunch of lava. But a little bit away from the camera is the ending of the 2D section right before the launch star. So you can use the lava to kind of get there from the castle and skip about a good portion of the level. However, if you're too close to the camera, you get stuck in this weird area, and you just stay there for a few seconds until you die. And if you get too far away, you actually fall off the edge. So I'm going to be grabbing this life mushroom to make sure I can do the lava bounces, and then I have to make sure while I'm doing the skip, I have to do a precise setup to stay a certain distance away from the castle. And the reason why I have to do Behind the Castle on this star is because I need to comment that over here. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so I'm actually gonna... I accidentally bonked on the color, so I'm gonna try that again. Ah, I was too close. So, yeah, that can happen. So, that's what happens if you're too close. It's actually not gonna... Because I got the checkpoint, now I can't really try it again, so I'm just gonna attempt the alternate skip now. Because it wouldn't save time to do Behind the Castle at this point. So the alternate skip is over here. Alright, there we go. We'll count that as a success. Anyways. That skip is kind of weird, though. I'll probably explain it more once we get to the comic version of this level. Yeah, the thing about these locks is that... Okay, that was weird. The thing about these locks is it's possible to hit 2 of them at once. But it's very precise to do that. And I also, for some reason, am really bad at breaking them. I don't know why. So unfortunately I didn't get to show off Behind the Castle. It is a really cool skip. But if you get it, once you bounce on the lava some, you'll get pulled into that 2D section right after the womps. Or get pulled in kind of the start of that section. Alright, so here's the next Bowser fight. This Bowser fight's a bit of an upgrade over the last one. And he'll slam his fist into the ground like this, and it also sends out a shockwave when he does that. He's also only going to fire out 2 meteors instead of 3. And also, on this first hit, I'm going to utilize something called a punch cancel. I'm actually going to wait until Bowser's about to punch to get the first hit. Because this cancels the punch, and ends up saving me a couple seconds. This is a fight where he can actually punch out 2 meteors at once. And if he does that, then every missed hit, or every time he does that, wastes around 20 seconds. So I have to be careful and make sure he doesn't do that. So if I feel like Bowser's punch is gonna potentially hit both of the meteors, I'm gonna actually go out of my way to move him a little out of the ways. Move him a little out of the way, so that way he doesn't punch them both out. But that was a pretty decent fight. A little sad that I failed behind the castle, but at least I didn't lose too much time because of it, and also at least you got to see the other skip, and I didn't lose too much time to that either. And you'll get to see that other skip again in the common version of the star, so if you thought it was cool and you would like an explanation, stick around and like another hour to get to it. There we go. Now we're done with the World 4 segment. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Okay. Yeah, I only lost like 45 seconds to that death. Nothing too bad. So next up is World 5, but we're not actually going to start in World 5. We're actually going to start by backtracking to Worlds 1 and 2 again. We're going to get a few more Comet Stars, a couple of which we weren't actually able to do beforehand. Because one of them is the Watchable Secret, which requires getting a mail-chilled letter that requires beating Chompworks. And the other is the Fiery Flatoa's Comet, which isn't unlockable until you have 20 Comet medals. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. But first we're gonna do the Hightail Falls Comet. So this is gonna, for the most part, this star is gonna be very similar to the first star, but there's gonna be holes in the ground, which aren't really a big deal. Meteors falling, which for the most part won't get in the way. And the ending is gonna be different because I don't need to collect the Comet Medal. So I'm gonna be doing a much different strat for the ending. I'm also not gonna be collecting stars because I don't have to. Yeah. If you weren't here though before, I'll go ahead and kind of re-explain what I'm doing here. We have Smeeches though following us, and if a Smeech gets on Yoshi's mouth, he can't eat anything until he shakes it off. So let's see if I can get to this one. I didn't get that in practice yesterday. Yeah. If you fall like that, that's pretty bad. Oh, lucky you can just get right back up. Okay, eat the dash pepper. Eat the dash pepper. It does take a while for that cursor to show up. Like that. Okay, this is really bad. Falling down twice is not preferable. There we go. Again, I'm going up that left path because the dash pepper is there, and I can use that on this final planet. On this next planet. Kind of lengthen the effect of it. So, unlike last time, I'm actually going to take the launch star. And that's because I'm going to do a different strat here. Let's see if I get this. This is kind of a leap of faith here. Okay, I got it first track, very nice. That was kind of bad. I fell down twice. So at least I got the big jump first time. Basically, if you just jump at the edge of that wall, you can get a lot of extra height. Okay. time for the most RNG heavy star in the entire run. So I'm going to be doing Boltable Comets next. We actually used to get the star much earlier in the run. But now we do it later so that we only have to do 2 trips to Boltable. And this star is kind of terrible because the Crabbers have really random movement patterns. And so this star can either be really easy or really annoying. So let's see what type of pattern I get here. And I'm gonna get Rock Mario. I'm gonna head down right first, or not. Okay, I got a lot of Crabbers there. You basically kind of want to hope for the first couple of rolls you do that they kind of all group up and you're able to get them really efficiently. And these blue Crabbers are the worst ones because their movement is the most random and they also move a lot quicker. I am not getting any blue Crabbers. That is not good. I don't usually have this much trouble getting blue Crabbers. There we go. Okay, so now I can just work with the last two. I have to figure out where the star is. Okay, it's all the way over there. We're gonna do Rock Mario to get it. That wasn't too great, but it could have gone way worse. I could have had to redo the entire star, which is what happens with one at a time. So now, next, unfortunately, I'm a huge proponent of killing the animals. I don't actually run Super Metroid, but I'm a huge proponent of killing the animals. So this next star kind of sucks to me because we have to save a creature. And we don't get to kill him, despite how much he wants to die. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this next star involves transporting a Goomba and getting it to the Guillermo, who for some reason is interested in collecting them. This star is kind of neat though, because we get to do Boltable full one skip, but without Rock Mario. And it's actually a lot easier, although this jump kind of sucks. This first one here. Okay. And now we don't even have to set it up. I can just run left, launch him off the ledge, instead, and I get pulled up in gravity. Literally free. The reason why I had to use Rock Mario on the first star is because I needed the combo. Okay, so now I have to get the Goomba to do what I want it to do. Okay, that should be good. Typically, if it doesn't slow down here, then I'm good to go. The problem is, though, you only get 2 Goombas, and if they both die, then you have to restart the entire level. But thankfully I was able to get past it with only 1 Goomba. And also, sometimes you can soft block on that star for some stupid reason. Like if the Goomba jumps or hits you or something right before it walks in there, then it can soft block the game before the cutscene. But that didn't happen, thankfully. Okay, so we just saved a creature. Now, we get to kill one. Because, you know, that's fun. And, yeah, we get to visit our old friend Goblin Bell again. Now we get to do the Fiery Flotilla comment. So I get one more chance to show how bad this boss can be sometimes. How this goes. This is basically the exact same fight, but on a time limit. And the time limit is honestly the least of your worries. Because it's very generous given the strats we can use for this fight. First phase went off. I get one more chance to show how awful the second phase will be. Alright, 2 for 2 perfect Gobble Gut. That's really, really good. So I'm just gonna hold up left, long jump, and there's the star. Yeah, a good thing about this any percent route is that we never have to go to the Battle Belt Galaxy, which is beneficial because there's a boss in there. It's basically Gobblegut, but he's on fire. It's very, very inconsistent to do fast. And so nobody likes him, so we try to avoid him as much as we can. Okay, so now we're done with World 1 and 2 for the rest of the run. So now we can move on to World 5. We're not going to get too many stars from World 5, but the stars we are going to get are pretty fast. And a lot of the stars are pretty interesting too. Most of them are very movement intensive. So first we're going to do Space Storm 1. This star is relatively straightforward. There's a couple small things here and there. This is the first level where stars where I'll be really utilizing full stars. This point it's kind of tricky to do, but fortunately I have a decent way of going about it. Right. So now we can guide the Bob-omb to break some glass to allow us to have access to the launch star. And we can just skip walking all the way around there by just long jumping to the launch star. Next is the pole star section, and the thing you should know about me, I am really, really bad with pole stars. I do not like using them. So I might fumble around a little bit here. It's okay to get damage like that because I'm suspended in midair for a moment. Also, I think I might have accidentally had a started on the counter. It's fine though, that's only 1 second because of the text box. Yeah, 120 is decent. Oh, I didn't have any star bits, that's cool. The next star of the run, Space Storm 2, is one of the coolest stars when done well, with no mistakes, but it's hard to do the star without any mistakes. It's also one of the fastest stars in 90%. It's around 28 seconds if done optimally. This is actually based on a buoy-based galaxy from the original Super Mario Galaxy, and even has the music from buoy-based. It's kind of a nice reference. And you're supposed to hit these switches throughout the level to slow down time, but I'm going to try to make it through without hitting any of them. Alright, starting off good. That first planet star is hard for me. Alright, that was a perfect Space Storm 2. As you can see, we're already done. So we're going to be done with that level. Now we're going to get a couple of stars from the remaining galaxies in World 5. Each. We're not going to go to Slip Sand because that level's slow and boring, and we're not going to go to Fleet Collide because that's a Blizzard level, and no one likes Blizzard levels. Yeah, this route doesn't really have any motion control-based levels. Most everything is either just sheer platforming or just execution skips. Or Yoshi hovering, you know, because Yoshi fluttering is always fun. Yeah, here's another point star. So, for those who weren't here earlier, we had a guessing game. if you want to make a guess here, you can guess between 600 and 900 points, and you can guess in multiples of 10. So, guess what score I'm going to get. Only guess in multiples of 10, by the way. Winner is whoever either gets it or whoever's closest, if no one gets it. By the way, the patterns you get are the same every time. It's their rotation that's random. They can be rotated in one of 4 different ways. Get the full one. Alright, strawberries was closest. That'll be the last guessing game for this run, by the way, unfortunately, if you're into that. Next is Shiverburn 1, where we're going to be utilizing some more sequence breaking here. The first skip here is kind of neat. We're going to be skipping from the first planet to the end of the second planet by using gravity. It requires you to be pretty low, though, and it requires Cloud Mario. But an interesting thing about this skip is it was found by 12 full 31. Pretty radical. Let's see if I get this. I think I'm good. Ah! That was... I probably would have made that if I didn't spin. That's kind of unfortunate. The method I'm using for this skip is really hard. And I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, I didn't think so. I was really low there. Third time's the charm. Don't worry. There we go. That should be real hard. There we go. Alright, third time's the charm. Probably on the end of the lost star here. And now on this next planet, you're supposed to fire coconuts back at all these little octopus guys to make up friendship here. But we're just gonna avoid doing that by just long jumping past them. That might be a little early though. Alright. Okay, so now we're gonna fight Prince Picante. I think that's how you say his name. I'm gonna be using a different strategy for this boss that's actually slower but way more consistent. I'm actually gonna skip this first coconut, and I'm gonna attack with this second one. I'm gonna attack pretty late. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm manipulating Prince Picante so that he never goes to that side of the battlefield during the second or third hits. Because if he does that, then he does sort of this upward firing attack that kind of randomizes the fight, and it can be used to actually make the fight faster than the stress I'm using. But again, it's very RNG dependent. And the method I'm using has no RNG whatsoever. Okay, so we're gonna head back to Shiverburn in a little bit to get the Comet Star, but for now we'll be heading on to the other galaxies. These two guys combined cost me a little under a minute. There we go, to get our seconds out of 50 star bits. And our next galaxy is going to be Upside Dizzy Galaxy. Kind of the sequel level to Right Side Down, if you must. Both stars here are pretty technical in terms of movement. Upside Dizzy 1 in particular is Vericycle based with the gravity changing constantly everywhere. But this is going to be an interesting star if done properly. A lot of neat tricks here and there. So that's what I'm doing. Make sure I collect starters here, because I really need to use them at the start of the next turn. Alright. Okay, I'm actually just gonna wait for that Goomba to come down so I can try this again. Alright, I made it in. So that's good. I have to take damage down with the stress I use. Alright, there we go. That second room went really well. That second room can be pretty hard to do. So now I'm going to head back in and do the Secret Star, which is basically the same as Right Side Down Secret Star. There's a secret pipe I can go into. That takes me to this box minigame. Again, I can skip the cutscenes because I've already seen them. Also hide Luigi again. Entering the pipe with the strat I'm using is kind of fickle. Okay, and I kind of messed it up. There we go. I backed it up pretty well. You're supposed to. I usually do a bounce off that Goomba, but getting the bounce off the Goomba is. There we go. I backed that up pretty well also. So this box minigame is actually a little bit easier to do optimally than the one in Right Side Down because the boxes are more tightly packed together, and you don't have to throw out as nearly as many weird angles. Now, usually I like to aim for around an 8 on the clock. So that's pretty good. I think a 9 is optimal. So we're done with Right Side Down. I mean, Upside Dizzy. I got the levels confused. Now we're going to move on to another spooky level. This time it's going to be Boo Moon. Also, this is the last time we're visiting the engine room. This will be the last part of the route where we do that. So who's ready for another spooky level?
let's get spooky.
Yep, Boom Boom. This level is kinda not very boring. At least this first star is kind of just auto-scrollers for the most part. There's a couple of small strats here where I can really speed it up. I'm actually gonna get 2 stars here. In the old any percent route, we would get 1, but Boom Boom 1 just recently became integrated into the route because of a new skip that was found a couple of years ago. So this first room, it's only optimal to long jump at the beginning and the end. I'm gonna do a minor sequence break here to skip part of this auto-scroller section. This is mainly just a bunch of snake blocks. It's kind of cool. The snake blocks are from Super Mario World, and this song is also a remix of the Ghost House theme from Super Mario World, so it's kind of neat. So we can just skip part of that one. The music notes give you a good indication of when to long jump. We're just kind of going along this path, you know, nothing you can do to speed it up. And while we're here, we might as well collect the comet out of it, you know. It's on the way. Alright. So we're gonna do a tiny skip here. Once I reach this platform, I'm just gonna head over here, long jump to the star. Save a lot of time, and also is a lot easier than taking the pathway because those octoboos are just annoying. Like, you can't kill them, and they can just bump, and because of the way the platform moves, if they bump into you, it's impossible to catch up, and so you're just gonna die. That's another comet we'll be unlocking, but not getting, the Frisson Fleet comet. So now we're gonna do Boom Boom 1. A new skip, basically, how Boom Boom 1 works is it wasn't in the any percent route for a while until Nemi found a skip that allows you to skip a good portion of the auto-scroller section. And so now this star is definitely faster for any percent. It's faster than the Supermassive Secret Star, which we used to also do. The old route is very similar to the new route. It's just that Boldable Comet was moved to later in the run, and this star replaces Supermassive Secret. Be attempting this long jump again. I don't actually know if this is faster than what most people do, but I just do it anyways. Be different, you know? Okay, so this skip is kind of difficult and also kind of weird looking. So I'm going to activate the gravity field from this section level. Now I'm going to turn around and head over here and stand in the right spot. Alright, I got it. So we just skip basically the entire rest of that auto-scroll section by doing that. Now we got some silver stars to collect. Pretty easy stuff. So now the only star left in World 5 before we have to do the boss level is the Shiverburn Comet, and then after that we'll be pretty much set to move onwards. And the reason why this star is actually pretty fast normally without the skip, but the reason why it wasn't in any percent for a while is because of this Mail Toad letter. And so originally it saves, I think the route difference is like 10 seconds at best, but it's still worth it. I even think without the skip, doing Boom Boom 1 is better than doing the Supermassive Secret, just because it's an easier star to do. Okay, so now it's time for the Shiverburn Comet. You might be wondering if it's faster to use the Rainbow Star or to skate, and the answer is neither. They're both the same speed. However, it's easier to turn if you're running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skate to build up momentum, and then after that just run. And that's what I'm going to be using to clear out all these octobos, whatever they're called. I'm going to try to do this on one Rainbow Star. Okay, so now we have 55 stars, which means we can actually move on to the boss level. Which is going to be Bowser Jr.'s Boom Bunker. Now, Boom Bunker is kind of an irritating level for a few different reasons. Mainly that it has the one thing about Galaxy 2 that I really don't like, and that's cannons. I really don't like aiming cannons in this game because it's motion control based, and that sucks. But you have to do it for this level. Also, the boss is kind of irritating, and the 2 cannon shots I have to do in this level are very, very precise, and if you miss them, you're probably going to die. So let's see how this goes. This is like the only motion control based level in the entire game, so thankfully no one worries much about that.
Alright, race for waggle percent.
So we're gonna aim at this boomerang bro's face. That's typically the scarier cannon shot, so I'm really happy I got past that. And then afterwards we can just use movement to kill that other one. Well, this second cannon
So you
shot,
actually have to...
I want to aim at the cloud flower up, and I want to shoot right when the platform is finished moving out from underneath the cloud flower. And I can just long jump all the way over to the comet metal. Right here's Doomsday. This boss can either make you or itself look like a complete joke. Hopefully, I make it look like a complete joke. So, let's see how this goes. I tried to get a frame perfect round down there, but I pressed the key a little later than it looked like. Bombing ground pounds don't lose too much time compared to normal long frame perfect ground pounds. Okay, here's the phase where this matters. I'm gonna focus here. Redemption. I died to that boss in my HRDQ run, so I'm really happy I got past that without dying. And with that, we are finished with World 5. Now, if I get a really good World 6, I can still sub 310. But World 6 is around 40 minutes long. So we'll see how this goes. And World 6 is full of some pretty tricky stuff, but it's also full of a few easy ones and a few straightforward ones. And it's possible to do World 6 in under 40 minutes pretty easily. So there's still hope for the sub 310. Last time we're going to have to enter this cutscene. Okay, so the very first star of World 6 is one of my least favorites as well, and it's Melty Monster 1. This star it's another one of those stars where you basically have to do everything just right, or else you're going to be losing around 15-20 seconds. Basically, how this is going to work is that the tornadoes in the second section of the level are on global cycles. And I need to be able to play pretty much perfectly to get the optimal cycle here and be able to skip, I think, 2 of the tornadoes or 1 of them or whatever. We also have pole stars in this first section. You know what I said earlier, I'm so great at those. really hard to get good momentum carrying these. That was a really good first section. This second section isn't too hard either. Just some minor skips here. Should be good to make the tornado start before fighting this part as well. Uh-oh, I'm dead. So that's kind of bad. Thankfully though, I just start right here. There we go. I think I can still make it to this one, yeah. I can't skip that one. Okay, I was afraid for a second I wouldn't get into that launch star. So I did a kind of cool long jump there. You can actually land on this planet right here with the point block, but it's real. I can't really do it that well. There we go. That last planet can be really, really finicky, but I think I ended it alright. So optimally a time I think my best time in this level RTA is like a 1:30. Let's see how much time I lost. So that's what I think my nerd got. 30 seconds. So we're going to get all 3 stars from Melting Monster, but the unique thing about this level is that we're actually going to be able to get all 3 stars in one sitting. Like in one go through the level. So next I'm going to select Melting Monster 2, but I'm actually going to be doing the Secret Star next. The reason why I did the first star first is because the tornadoes will be on better cycles if I do it that way. Or at least they should be, provided I don't die. But this next star is pretty straightforward. The point, it's another chimp challenge, but there's not nearly as many point values you can choose from for guessing, so we're not going to bother with that. But basically, on this star, there's 56 pins in total, and you need to hit at least 50 of them. And there is a strat you can go for that I am not even going to bother attempting. It's really hard. Basically, you do a spin jump onto the ramp, which cancels the ramp effect. And then at the very edge of the ramp you jump and perform what's called a mid-air rock jump, where if you jump and spin at the same time in mid-air while using Rock Mario, you can actually get an extra jump. And you can do that infinitely, but it's very hard to get the timing down. And the thing, and what makes it faster on this star is that once you land, because you didn't take the ramp, you just keep rolling, and so you don't stop like I am every single time here. So I missed a thing here. I'm actually a little bit earlier. And it saves a few seconds. There's actually a skip you can do with mid-air rock jumps that can be done on Freezy Flake 2 that just recently has become human viable, but it's nowhere close to being RTA viable. But it would save like over a minute if you could do it, and it would definitely, if it were viable for RTA, it would definitely be at 80%. Yeah, you saw me do a mid-air rock jump in multiple times when I rolled the ramp. I just did it for funsies. And this last star, I think this next star is the last star that we get to use Rock Mario in. Let's see how this goes. I also get to auto-select all 3 stars, which is pretty nice, and I can also skip the cutscenes on this one, but there's no cycles I have to worry about for this one. This star is kind of an auto-scroller, because once you hit the ramps and begin rolling, you can't stop Rock Mario unless you die. We shouldn't have to record that. Let's see if I can get a mid-air down here. Okay, this is a star that you can grind star bits on, but again, because I have the bank code, I don't really need to do that. I'm gonna kind of roll along here and avoid these crystals. I don't really want to have star bits. Okay, there's a small strat coming up here that I'm gonna go for. I'm safe for 2 seconds to get it. I got it. Okay, that was a really sketchy ending. Okay, get the star, please. There we go. That zigzag skip is really scary, and I also followed that up by not getting the star right away. And those fences can just bounce you into oblivion for no good reason. So I'm really thankful that I got past that without dying. I lost a few seconds to that, though. Next, we're going to do the Clockwork Ruin Secret Star. So, this star is... it might seem like kind of a long star, because you have to collect 30 coins to defeat this Hungry Luma, but the thing is, it's all done on this first section here, and once I do that, the star is basically done. And the route to collecting the 30 coins is actually pretty cool. I do have to make sure I don't die here, because if I do, then the cycles of these gears become pretty impossible to navigate quickly. Okay, once I go here, I'm going to go into first-person mode for a little bit to look ahead, and that advances the cycles of the platform after this one. Yes, I'm thinking that far ahead. Okay, so... the route I'm doing allows me to only have to get 1 coin from this final platform. There is a route that allows you to have to get 0, but it's very hard. So I haven't bothered learning it yet. And plus, I'm fairly consistent at this route. Alright, so now he's going to spawn this planet here. And it's a pretty long planet, but the thing is, we can skip the entire planet with kind of these hammers with the buttons that slow down time. We can skip all of that just by doing a triple jump wall here. It's literally that easy. Like, doing that's actually easier than taking the intended route. Alright. Here you guys know what time it is. So now it's time for Throwback Galaxy, except, oh wait a minute, that looks kind of like Womp's Fortress from Super Mario 64. So yeah, this game has a SM64 reference in here. So Throwback Galaxy is basically a copy of Womp's Fortress from Super Mario 64, and this is kind of a reference to the first star. I mean, the Comet Medal is actually where, as you can see right there, it's actually where the Shoot into the Wild Blue Star is in SM64. It's really cool. So this is going to be my best Chiso 5 impersonation, everyone. I'm going to do a cool little thing here, where you can just kind of get a glitchy ledge grab that lets you just jump straight up. Also, anybody who's seen the 246 relay race that I participated in knows that I do not have fond memories of this star. So I'm actually going to grab this checkpoint because I once killed a PB pace run in a marathon to dying to this boss twice, even though this boss is really easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that checkpoint to be on the safe side. So unlike Super Mario 64, you can't ground pound through King Womp, but you're just going to have to take all 3 hits from him, and he also has some extra attacks. His stomps, when he jumps around like this, can actually stun you in place, so that's why I kind of am jumping here. Alright, Wimples, don't you dare knock me off. Okay. Alright, that was pretty good. That was a decent throwback one. I did have to go a little out of my ways to make sure I didn't, well, screw that up. But better than dying twice, you know? So, yeah. We're kind of approaching the end here. We have 10 stars left, you know? And about, probably if I had to guess, around a little over 25 minutes remaining. Like, I can probably still 309, but I'll most likely get a 309, which is alright for my phone. It's not like 3 minutes off my Okay, up next is Throwback 2. This is kind of a lame Silver Star mission because they could have placed them in like red coin positions or something, but they just kind of threw Silver Stars in random places around the level and then gave you Cloud Mario to make up for it. It's still cool though because the movement from each Silver Star to the next is still pretty entertaining. I'm gonna go for a little long trip off this bottom one. I actually hold A when I bounce off of bottom enemies like that, or NPCs, because I get a little bit more high ground with that. I'm gonna get Cloud Mario here. I do have to be careful when I do cloud cancels because if I time it wrong, I might accidentally do a frame perfect ground pound or a homing ground pound. And when you're doing them above hits, that's kind of bad. Some more cloud boosting action. Okay, I'm going to try to frame perfect ground pound here, but it's going to be really hard. Because cutscenes are going to make it hard to time. Okay, that was fine. What the? Is my stream buffering? My stream just... The stream just buffered. Is something wrong there? Did the stream just buffer for you? Or is that just me? Because OBS didn't say I dropped any frames. Ah, must be right. I just my timer still down. Alright. Anyways, we're gonna go to Flash Black now because it's actually better to have 1800 star bits, even in a non-bank toad run, to unlock Flash Black than it is to go ahead and take the top route with Battle Belt. And Battle Belt is a very, very slow and boring galaxy. Like, you can try to justify it being a fast galaxy, you can't. It's literally impossible. And plus, with this route, you can get extra stars such as Slimy Spring, and the 2 stars from Flash Black are very fast. And now we have unlocked all the Hungry Living Galaxies we need to unlock. So in Flash Black 1, basically for both stars in Flash Black, the lights will flicker on and off every now and then, but again, I'm a speedrunner. I don't need to have the lights on when I'm going. Who needs to see? Keep people have done blindfolded runs, you know? Okay, that's actually fine. I can wait for this to be done. Some cool movement coming up here if I get it. Ah, that's kind of unfortunate. I was trying to do like a cool backwards bounce off of that. Yeah, this game is kind of long to run. It's hard to find time to run it, but when if you can, it's a really fun game to run. Okay. Only one more comet medal left. And then we'll be done with collecting comet medals. This next star is honestly kind of boring. Basically, 2 minutes of swimming with the shell. So once I get to the shell, feel free to read a bunch of donations if there are any. I mean, there's probably not that many at all, but we'll see if there are.
As a matter of fact, there aren't any.
Interesting. So now I have to find crap to talk about during these next few minutes. Okay, first I'm gonna do another slow boost though. Let's see if I can be 3 for 3 on slow boosts. Nice. Literally just grab the shell, and now we're just doing this for the next couple of minutes.
Well, alright. So, don't forget that this speedrun marathon is here to gather money to fund testicular cancer research and raise awareness for the most common form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35. The testicular self-exam app is also available on Google Play and iTunes. So if you need to give your balls a check, you can follow the simple steps listed there.
Okay, it's gonna get mildly interesting now. But it's not
Alright.
too interesting. I actually am gonna attempt to do the start coinless. Which is gonna involve me trying to get through these rings without touching any of the coins. It's actually easier said than done. Because the rings kind of make you go fast. And the coins have pretty big hitboxes because of their air bubbles. But right now we're pretty good. I'm gonna kind of go for a cool little shell toss here. Allow me to get the chest a little bit quicker. I need to make sure I have a good angle before I go for it. Okay, I'm not gonna go for it because I couldn't get launched out of the water. I was trying to get like a launch out of the water, and then I would have thrown the shell in midair and hit the chest. That's okay. Okay, so after this star, the last 6 stars I'm going to be collecting before I go to Galaxy Generator are all comets. I'm going to be collecting 3 from World... I'm going to be collecting 2 from World 3, 2 from World 4, and 2 from World 6. And that'll cover the 70 stars I need. So I'm actually going to be collecting the Honey Halls Comet first. I could have collected the star way, way earlier in the run, but the thing is, comets will spawn in the order that they are in terms of comet levels unlocked. So, because of this, Flashblacks and Honey Halls Flashblacks and Throwbacks comets have to spawn before Beat Blocks and Gravity Gauntlets comets do. And because of the way this route works out, you need 1 star in between Slimy Spring and Beat Block Comet in order for Beat Block's Comet to spawn. And thankfully, we have Honey Halls Comet as an option. This star is basically the last half of Honey Halls 2, but with Cosmic Points instead of boosts. It's still a bunch of long jumps. Although the camera for this section is a little weirder. It's kind of really zoomed out. Kind of tell me exactly where you are a little bit difficult. Very self-explanatory. So now we'll be able to unlock Beat Block's comets and Gravity Gauntlet's comets. Okay, so on Beat Block Comet, it's going to say that the blocks are switching in double time, but the thing is, in the normal star, the blocks switch every 8 beats. Here they switch every other beat of the song. So it's actually 4 times as fast, so the game actually lies to you here. Like, this actually changes 4 times as fast, and I don't even think it shows the full speed in the intro. I think it's every 3.5. It looks like it's every 3.5 or something. And also the silver stars, there's a few more of them. Like, the levels kind of laid out differently. And for whatever reason, we get Yoshi, so fine, we'll just use a dark advantage. Bye, Yoshi. Okay, I made that. That's a really, really scary star. It's very easy to die. I was actually kind of afraid. It actually is kind of possible for the blocks to change at literally the last second. And from there, you're kind of screwed because you have to quickly be able to not fall and die. Alright, time for Gravity Gauntlet Comet. So I'm going to be doing the skip you saw me do as the backup strat on Star 1. How this skip actually works is when you hit a lava wall, contrary to hitting a lava floor, and then you hit the lava again, you get boosted horizontally rather than vertically. And so I can use, so that's what I do on this star. Except this time I'm going to default to going straight for the lava boost skip. And this saves about 10 more seconds more than doing behind the castle. And it is a bit more random, though, because you have to do very specific inputs in the air in order to prevent you from dying in the next section. Let's see how this goes. Okay, I got burned with the last flame possible part. Okay, here we go. Okay, I got it. It's possible for you to get that skip, but then once you land, you fall through the floor. But there's a couple things you can do to avoid that. First of all, I spun right before I hit the lava. I don't know if that actually helps, but there's a superstition in the Galaxy speedrunning community that doing a spin right before hitting the lava there reduces your chance that you'll fall through the floor. And also, you want to kind of land closer to the right side of the platform when you do that, because if you land on the left side, you have a higher chance of falling through. I don't exactly know how it works, but at least I got it first try. That's all you need to care about. So I got the hardest 2 stars of the 6 remaining out of the way. The next couple stars are pretty easy. So this purple coin challenge is a little different than the rest, I guess. Because literally, here's what you do. You get on Yoshi, you eat the dash pepper, and then you collect the purple coins. This is actually probably one of the easiest stars in the run. Just because you have way more than 100 purple coins to use at your disposal. I'm actually gonna be a little cautious here and go around this path and with the camera. I probably didn't need to take as short of a cut as I did there, but I wanted to play it safe because I kind of was able to skip having to go around that tower a little bit. I think I still saved time by doing that. Okay, so now we gotta get the 2 common stars from World 6, and we're gonna be doing Throwback and Flashback. Okay, saying those 2 names next to each other is really weird. Okay, so this star is pretty much the exact same as Throwback 2. The cycles at the beginning are going to be slightly different because they're going to show different camera angles during the cutscenes, and also, I'm on a timer. But those are literally the only differences in the star between this and Throwback 2. So I'm not going to have a whole lot to say during this. There doesn't have to be talking or anything. I mean, I've been talking a good portion of it. This cycle is actually a little harder to make now. The good news is this cycle's a bit earlier. Uh-oh. That's not very good. Okay, I backed that up. I almost ground pounded, but that would result in death. Okay, this is not gonna be... This is gonna be close. Okay. Sketchiest throwback combo I've ever had. Alright. We're almost done, guys. About 10 more minutes, if I had to guess. I don't think... This run's not going to be sub-3, by the way. It's not. It's going to be like a 3:10. Feed one more star because he's already got enough of this. Flashback's comment is a really cool comment, in my opinion. It requires strategies that you wouldn't normally use. It requires a really good amount of multitasking. Basically, these Octumbas are all... You want to kill all these Octumbas using one of 3 different methods. You can either shoot Starbits at them and then kick them, which is one most you're going to do. You can jump on them, or you can spin attack them. This requires a bunch of multitasking. You have to pay attention to the Starbit counter, you have to pay attention to Mario, you have to pay attention to the enemies, you have to pay attention to where Starbits are so you can collect them. You have to pay attention to your cursor. So I think this is a really unique star. It is kind of tricky though. And figuring out the most optimal patterns to kill these guys is not easy. And if you try the Starbit method, okay, I'm gonna get a coin from this guy. And now you get Yoshi, and you can just use him to eat up the rest of the enemies. And now, it's time for the hardest skip in the run. Oh man.
The hardest skip in the run.
Here we go. This is a tough one. I had to practice a lot for this one. I don't think I can do it.
Alright, I'm girding my loins.
Alright. It's on the world map here. I got it!
Nice!
So what I just did there is on the space right before Bowser's Galaxy Generator, there's a cutscene, normally. And what I did is if you click on the Bowser's Galaxy Generator space using the Wii Remote, instead of moving there with the nunchuck, you skip the cutscene and it saves like 35 seconds. It's called Purple Idiot Skip, and it was found by Odd Me Order. So it's like the biggest meme skip in this entire game, and it was literally found like 2 years ago. So it took a really long time to find. Alright, so Bowser's Galaxy Generator, the epic finale. We got some cool strats here and there. Got another lava wall boost. This is a new movement I just recently learned. I got rid of the spin draw on purpose there because I want to be able to long jump and also triple jump and spin. This section's kind of weird. Try to be careful when I enter the launch star here. Because I want to keep this cloud. So coming up is, in my opinion, the coolest Infinite Flutter in all of SMG2 any percent. Basically, once I get on Yoshi, I'm going to Infinite Flutter straight to the end of the level. And it's a kind of difficult Infinite Flutter, but I wouldn't worry about it. I have to be careful with my height here. If I go too high, I'll soft lock and I might have to leave the level. You can actually land on the top platform up there, but I don't ever go for that. And that skips basically the entire rest of the level. Alright. I just gotta hit all 3 of these locks here. I did not get a double lock. Now it's time for the Bowser fight, the final one. So this Bowser fight is very similar to the one from Gravity Gauntlet, except he's going to drop 3 meteors again, but also Bowser's going to be much quicker to pull out his punches. But in terms of strats and how the fight goes, it is very similar to. And he's also going to have more shockwaves coming out of these punches. Again, I'm doing those small jumps just to kind of speed Mario up. Okay, I barely made it out of there before he punched. I'm going to go for another punch cancel here. And again, if I miss a hit, it wastes around 20 seconds, so we're going to hope that that doesn't happen here. Getting the hits, getting a ground pound on those meteors automatically is actually pretty difficult. So, also, yeah, on this phase, Bowser does an extra punch, but it's nothing special. Now, he's going to get more meteors, and he's going to fire it back. Pretty standard, right? Okay, Bowser might have a chance of punching out some meteors here, but he's not punching it. What? Okay. That was kind of a wasted opportunity. So what just happened there is I tried to shoot the meteor at Bowser, but I tried it in the optimal form, and he pulled his fist out before I could get the meteor to him. Okay, I got him there. That was kind of funny. But that, if I was on sub 310 pace, that killed it. But I don't think I would have. I probably would have just barely gotten the sub 310 time. I probably would have missed it by like a couple seconds. Right. There we go. There we go. This isn't that great of a run, but you know what? I feel like I redeemed myself because of my HRD key run. I feel like I redeemed myself. Finally got to finish a Galaxy 2 marathon run. Oh yeah, by the way, time's coming up pretty soon. If I can just get to the star, then that'll be time. And time. Wait, what? Bowser's back? What? Plot twist, OMG. I wonder how many people I actually fooled. Okay, by the way, this fight is ridiculously easy. Like, literally, there's no way you can ever die this fight. Like, if you just ground pound as soon as the first meter becomes visible, you'll get the first hit for free. The rest of them, I am gonna aim. This fight has such awesome music, too, but you never get to hear all of it. Alright. Alright, so there we go. That is Super Mario Galaxy 2 any%. But I'm not done playing this game yet, as I believe we have met a donation incentive for me to do something a little extra after this run.
Indeed we have.
So, but first though, I do have to finish the run, which involves touching this star. I want to give a few shout-outs to people while this cutscene's playing while I'm getting the perfect run. First of all, I'd like to shout out Valu111, who's the current world record holder for all RTA categories in both Galaxy 1 and 2. Really great. He doesn't run the games actively anymore, but he's really great at them. I'll shout out more people after I call time. Here we go. There we go. So other people I'll go ahead and shout out while I let the cutscenes play out. Nemi43, he doesn't really stream the game, and he rarely uploads to YouTube, but he has sick ILs of this game on his YouTube channel. Definitely go check them out. The Sludgy Gamer has the second place time in Galaxy 1 any%, and is also very well versed in Galaxy 2 as well. How to Cantaloupe, the fourth place time in Galaxy 2 any%. I currently have the third place time. Odd Me Warder, Found Purple Idiot Skip, very well versed in all 4 3D Marios. AEKOBN, he doesn't really stream that often, but he's got a lot of potential for this game. So I think that's everyone I was wanting to shout out. Alright, so there you go. Now I'm not gonna unlock the credits. I'm gonna go ahead and do the perfect run now. You don't have to change anything. I'm not gonna time this or anything because, again, we have an IL timer.
Alright, sounds good.
So what I'm about to do is the 242nd star of the game. It's called the perfect run. So basically, once you get all 120 green stars after getting the 120 main stars, you unlock Grandmaster Galaxy, which you unlock Grandmaster Galaxy, which is kind of this obstacle course with various sections and stuff. And once you beat Grandmaster 1, get the Comet Medal, and have 9,999 starbits in the bank toad. Although, if you're doing New Game Plus, you don't have to do that. Then you unlock the star, the perfect run, which is the same star, but you have 1 HP for the entire level, and there are no checkpoints. So this first section is just kind of, if you don't skip the cutscenes, you basically have to kill yourself or do infinite flutter stress that I don't know how to do. Because I don't really do the star very often. So I'm going to keep Yoshi through that section because Yoshi walks a lot faster than even Luigi does, which is going to help for this section. So I need to ditch Yoshi there because I can't have Cloud, Luigi, and Yoshi at the same time. It's been a while since I've done the star. I also didn't really practice it, so this could go a variety of ways.
Looks like you're doing well so far.
I want to leave this section with 2 clouds, no more, no less. Those are the strats I use here. These 2 clouds will benefit me in this section. By the way, if you need consistent methods of getting through the perfect run, just watch what I do. This is really consistent. Like, I rarely ever die to these sections. This section's kind of cool. Because you're supposed to go through these pole stars, but there's a mechanic where if you let go of a pole star and then grab another pole star and then let go before you reach the center, you get a lot of upwards momentum. So I'm going to use that a lot. Right, this last section is probably the hardest one for many people, including me. Well, I have somewhat of a consistent method for it. So you only have to kill those 3 Boomerang Bros at the end. But I'm going to be killing a couple of extra Hammer Brothers to make this a little easier. I'm going to kill that guy, and I'm going to kill this guy so he doesn't get in my way when I try to kill those Boomerang Bros. And there we go. I think that's the first time anyone's ever done the perfect run first try in a marathon.
Nice,
oh,
good work.
And before I get the star, fun fact, there's a 1 up here. There we go. That is Super Mario Galaxy 2. That's what I have to offer anyways. That was a lot of fun, even if my run was kind of bad. .305, not too bad. Alright, so this is going to be it for me on this marathon. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoyed all 4 of the runs. And I can't wait to see what other speedrunning marathons I can get in on.
Yeah, well, both of your runs were really clean.
Well, I also ran MK64 and SM64 earlier.
Oh, okay. I wasn't around for that.
go offline here, and we'll be moving on to the next run. What is the next run again? Are you sure? Do you know?
It's Tooth and Tail, but that's scheduled for 9 a.m.
I think
So
Strawberry
we've got
said
a
he
lot
would
of
add in
time
an
to
extra
work.
run if I finish these runs early. 'Cause I don't really have much else to offer
Yeah.
you.
He'll be taking the seat back shortly.
Alright. So you can just kind of go ahead and leave it on the other screen now. Alright, so see you all, and yeah, bye.